Hey, what's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. And as always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Hey, there's a disturbing story that's out of the great state of Texas. It's involved a teacher, students, a lesson plan, something that was taken out of context, maybe purposely. And this whole agenda that's disturbing. This mess is very disturbing. Now, in the last few days, there's been a story about Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish, and it's in these videos that they made about 8 years ago, and how the young lady, the two kids that were in the videos are suing Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish over trauma. Years of trauma, going through therapy, just ain't being able to live a normal life because of these videos. And I did a video about it. You can go back and check it out. And a lot of stuff has came out through through a document the lawyer drew up. And even if you've seen the video, a lot of the video they showed, it's edited. But even if you saw the edited video up into maybe the unedited video, if you haven't read what is being described in the documents that the lawyer has provided, man, you ain't even scratched the surface. But I felt, been for a minute, that there is there's like, I don't know, for some reason lately, there's been a push on, dang, you can't really use these words on right now, but the whole push on adults having certain feelings, towards children, physically, emotionally, that they should only have towards other consenting adults. But they're trying to push and saying that this stuff is normal, that kids may feel that way, children feel the same way towards the adults, and it's normal. And since they are consenting, then there should be no problem with it. You got people that are in law, like lawmakers, people trying to get in Congress, trying to pass bills to make this kind of behavior legal. I think it was something in California that they tried to pass a bill within the last year or two. I know there's a teacher somewhere up in the Northeast trying to teach this mess to kids. Got a book. It's an Instagram post I saw about how somebody wrote a book telling, showing kids that if a strange man come talking to you, saying don't run from him, don't be afraid, he just a friend trying to get to know you and all that kind of stuff, and get, it's a sick agenda. This is the same stuff that, if you are truly in the word, if you are truly a church goer, I'm not going to say a Christian, I'm not going to say a religious person, whatever, Baptist, whatever, if you are in these scriptures and you read these stories, whether you, like I said before, whether you believe it or not, it tells the truth. It tells you what has went on back then, what's going to go on now, the problems of the world, the sins of this world, and how these nations fail. In one of the aspects, that one of the things that happened during the fall of these great nations, it has something to do with sexual immorality. And if you just notice, there's a lot going on in the news. You got bestiality. It's a lot going on. It's a lot of teachers messing with these kids in these last few years. Now, people think there's something catastrophic just gonna happen all at once, and then you're gonna be like, oh my God, this is happening right now. We're gonna handle it. We're gonna take care of it. We're gonna stop it right now. That's not how it works. That's not how evil works. Evil takes time. They have nothing but time to figure out ways to beat the system. So a little bit of happen here, you'll say, oh, it's okay. They'll allow a little bit there. You say it's okay. And then it'll like just trickle on up. You know what I'm saying? They'll come like I said, they'll try to pass a law here in this little town, this little state. And then they say, oh, if that state will pass it, or if that city will pass it, then that county will pass it, then that state will pass it, then another state, you know, it'll happen in different states, and before you know it, everybody will say that this kind of activity is nothing wrong with it, right? Which is, like I said, which is a problem. So the issue is, it's happening. And the thing about like old people, you know how old people used to say, you know, you want to do some, old people say, no, you can't do this. And they're like, why? And they be like, just because I said so, and they didn't explain. But then you get this next generation that say, man, when, you know, I didn't like it when my parents, my grandparents, they wouldn't let me do this, wouldn't let me do that. I'm gonna let my kids, you know, do this. Or if they're gonna ask questions, I'm gonna tell them why. And this and the third. And then 2 or 3 generations later, you see what had happened. And then you go back and you say, now I see what them old people were talking about. Now I see why they were the way they. Now I see why they treated people or did what they did. There was a reason for it. You didn't have to know why. You just have to understand it is what it is. The older you get, you start to realize that you can't ask why on everything. It's just this is the way it is. This is the way they are. This is the way it's gonna be. Now, what are you gonna do to make a change, or to be able to operate within this system? Or do you get out of the system? It's up to you. So again, the issue in this story, it's like, I think the outcome of what happened to this teacher, I believe it's part of the agenda. So we're gonna get into this like real quick, you know. So this is from the Insider, and it says a Texas teacher faces termination after a video showed her telling students to use the term, quote, minor attracted persons instead of, you know, pedos, or the P word, pedophiles, hell. A student said the 18-second clip was taken out of context. Now, if it was taken out of context, that's funny, because you got a lot of times people put stuff on video, on you know, people do interviews, and then you go online and only like a short snippet is being shown by the, you know, the person that did the interview, for like clickbait, for like ratings, for like watches, you know. And then, you know, controversies start, you know, trying to push an agenda. Is usually how it goes. So why there's only an 18-second clip of what this teacher said makes you wonder who's trying to push a certain agenda. So here we go. It says a Texas school teacher is facing termination after a viral video was posted online showing her telling students to call pedophiles, quote, minor attracted persons, end quote. But students have come to her defense. In a unanimous vote on Tuesday by the El Paso ISD board, Amber Parker, a former English teacher at Franklin High School, was terminated after an 18-second video was posted online in August. KFOX T14 reported. Stop, quote, it says, quote, stop calling them that. They're not allowed to label people like that. Stop it. Diego, the teacher can be heard saying in the video. We are not going to call them that. We are going to call them MAPs, minor attracted person. So don't judge people just because they want to have, you know, SE with a 5-year-old. Now, just by hearing that, if I saw that on you know, online, I heard that, oh yeah, I'd be like, that teacher got to go, right? But let's keep going. A student who was in Parker's English class at the time of the recording told the outlet that her words were taken out of context and that it was part of a discussion exercise related to the class reading of The Crucible. Quote, she was expressing how it was ridiculous how we might not be able to call people pedophiles, that we will probably have to start calling them MAPs because it can be offensive to them. The class agreed. Ryan Ruvalcaba, a junior at Franklin High School, told KFOX TV. Parents have also expressed their concerns over the video, some saying they want a full investigation of the matter. You want to see the full video and get context and everything, but That statement in itself is very concerning, parent Thomas Deason told KFox TV. It is not a good 18 seconds, but I think that I need context to know what the whole conversation was before I'd be able to weigh in on to see what's going on. But I do see a lot of students have come to her defense. Parent Lori Edwards told the outlet. This is the thing. That's why I'm not understanding how people, that's why I said that there's got to be an agenda here. Because you got teachers, you got schools, I'm going to say I know in Texas, around Texas, that are needing school teachers bad. Hell, even the district that I live in, it's news outlets saying, you know, we got teacher shortage, you got school staff shortage, you got bus driver shortage, where I know what we've been here 4 years, that it was like 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, buses, from what I saw, empty. You know, kids can sit anywhere they want to, whatever. But then with the growth of this area, and like I say, people, then you know, then you know, the pandemic hit, people getting, you know, people quitting, not going back to work, getting that free money. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wanted to drive the bus no more. Well, you have fewer bus drivers, so fewer people working, period. So now with this school year started, they say there are kids sitting 3 to a seat and kids sitting on the floor riding the bus. That's what happened when you don't, when you try to work with the minimum amount of people when everything is going good. But you know, when things are going bad, what do? You know what I'm saying? They don't prepare for that, and now it's like a panic. It shouldn't have been a panic. You know, stop being cheap. You know what I'm saying? Stop being greedy. Pay these folks, get these kids to school, get these kids learning correctly in a good atmosphere. It says, okay, according to the local news outlet, the school board voted unanimously on Tuesday after an investigation of the incident to move forward in terminating Parker, who was on administrative leave. Now, why would you terminate somebody? Like I say, and the student said it was taken out of context, and they explained what the teacher was saying. Well, let's get into that. Quote, this is the beginning of a process, and we're going to move forward with it, and we await to see the outcome of the process. Al Velarde, the El Paso ISD board president, told KFox the investigation has been completed, but there is a process defined by TEA that we must follow when it comes to termination of employee. While the board has voted to terminate Parker from a position, she still has the ability to appeal. So the process is just beginning. There are going to be hearings and so forth that become available to the teachers, so we just await the process. Velarde told the outlet. According to KFox 14, Daniel Call, a member of the board trustee who once defended Parker, changed his mind after the investigation was concluded. Here's what he said. She should not have strayed as far as she did, Daniel Call, a member of the board trustee, told KFox 14. Hypothetically, I could have the best lesson plan in the world, but if I don't follow the lesson plan and I deviate into some areas I shouldn't be teaching about or talking about the lesson plan, is kind of pointless. Like, wow. Personal opinions on really sensitive matters don't belong in the classroom, Call told KFox 14. It's up to the families to provide education on some of these really sensitive issues. It is not the role of the school district to do that. Amazing, because the school district, from what I see, these sons are taking certain books out of schools because of sensitive issues. They're promoting these these pronouns. You know, they're trying to, so they can be, because people, hurting people. People are so sensitive, don't want to hurt people's feelings. They're allowing folks to promote activities that are not conducive to building families. But you are concerned that a teacher's going to say, hey, you can't call them the P word. You got to call them maps because it might hurt their feelings. But that's what they say all the time. That's what you hear all the time, that these politicians and teachers and professors say. But like I said, I believe that there's an agenda to push this to acceptability, just like you pushing the anti-sex movement. You know, shout out to Brother Nita Fuller. When, you know, it's not a male and a female, it's a male and male, or a female female. Again, it's not productive. I mean, it's not constructive. So I mean, you either, you know how they said, you either for me or against me. You either building or you tearing down, because you can say, well, I'm not doing anything. Well, basically, even if you're not doing anything, if you stand neutral, you're actually tearing it down. Because think of a house. Think if you sitting in the house and you could just don't do anything in the house. Just lay there. Don't do anything to the house. Your house gonna get dirty, gonna get dusty. The roof gonna start caving in. I mean, falling in. Your foundation might start cracking. You know, you need foundations gonna start, messing up. Let's say like water pipes start messing up. Whatever, things need clean. These things are gonna need repair, because everybody else is doing what they're doing, but you're just laying there. Hell, matter of fact, the bed you laying in is probably getting dust mites, bed bugs. You need to be washed. Sheets need to be washed. This, that, and the third. So if you're not helping cleaning the house, or you're not helping repair anything that happens to the house, you're being destructive. Okay, so ain't no such thing as being neutral in real life. So So like I say, with that being said, so yeah, it's a destructive behavior, because I mean, you can have fun and do what you want to. That's all on you. I mean, but my opinion is, it doesn't do anything towards the building of the family. It may have something to do towards the benefit of your pleasure, and do what you do. But I'm like, you shouldn't push that stuff on anybody, because you got to be in the family building, the community building aspect of life. It says, what did it say? Last year, no, hold on. Yeah, there we go. Last year, Eileen Walker, an assistant professor at Old Dominion University, resigned after they received backlash. Who was they? Is Eileen Walker considering herself a pronoun too? After they received backlash on their research on minor attracted people in a book titled A Long Dark Shadow, Minor Attracted People and Their Pursuit of Dignity, NBC reports. In an interview with the Prostasia Foundation, Walker defended their research. She identifies as a pronoun. This got to be the dumb, man. I don't know what's going on. Babylon. We just live in Babylon, period. Go read your Bibles, people, and get you a real interpretation. Do your research, study what I'm trying to say, and read your scriptures, man. My gosh, because all this stuff you're seeing, it's about to come to an end. I don't know when, but it's one of them things where even if it don't come to an end while you're living, prepare your kids and your grandkids to be able to live in a peaceful environment, because this here is ridiculous. Anyway, Walker defended their research by saying that they use the term minor attracted person because of the negative stigma associated with the phrase pedophile. See, minor attracted is a negative stigma. I think we have a tendency to want to categorize people with these attractions as evil or morally corrupt. They are. I'm sorry, you are. But when we're talking about non-offending maps, these are people who have an attraction that they didn't ask for, and one that frequently they would do anything to change, but they find that they're unable to change those attractions. And most importantly, the people that in my study did not act on them. Walker told the foundation. Let me tell you the problem with what you're saying. As Smokey would say in Friday, you putting together two things. What do you say? You never have two things that match. You're putting together two things that don't match. You're talking about a person's feelings, but you're bringing it to the forefront and making it a topic of discussion when it doesn't have to be. And that's what these people who think in this non-sexual way, non-productive way of thinking, those people feel like they have to be heard. You need to go to a dang on me psychiatrist. You don't need to put this stuff out in books and put this stuff out in the forefront and on TV and on the internet and in schools. You don't need to. You know why you don't need to? Because nobody knows how you feel. So why does the world have to know? Because if you don't want to act on it, and if you don't plan on acting on it, why do you got to tell people? It makes no sense at all. So you're talking about maps just because people are attracted to little kids in an immoral way. Because hell, what you want to say? We all have thoughts of doing something illegal or immoral. You know what I'm saying? Somebody make you mad, you might want to put them in the dirt, right? You know what I'm saying? You could be married or in a relationship and you see somebody else of the opposite sex, or the way the world's going now, the same sex, but whatever. And you might have these thoughts of doing something, you know what I'm saying, pleasing, physically pleasing to them, but they don't belong to you, and y'all are not in a relationship. You know, y'all are not married or whatever, or in a relationship, or y'all not, you know, whatever the case may be. Why, you know what I'm saying, you may think it, but you don't act on it, and you don't tell nobody because you don't want nobody to even know about it. You know, you might tell, now let's say like you might see a little old female and it's like, man, you know, that girl fine, whatever, man, you know, I do this and that and that third. You be like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? You might have homeboys say, man, you don't think like that. You know, ain't you married? Like, you know how people say, man, I ain't blind, you know, silly shit, stuff like that. But you wouldn't tell everybody, right? You wouldn't write a book about it saying, man, I'm lusting after all these women, and I think people look bad upon me. I think we need to just call me someone who's just attracted to women. You know what I'm saying? Men attracted to MAW, men attracted MAGW, men attracted to grown women, and it shouldn't be a problem. You know what I'm saying? But ain't nobody finna write a book about it. But these folks with these pedophilic thoughts, like I said, you ain't got no reason to tell nobody. You just a freaking, you know, you just got thrown off way of thinking. Go see a shrink, player. There's nothing. I mean, there's nothing else. There's nothing else to it. But people, that's the thing about when people do, you know, something you need to know. When people do stuff wrong, you ever notice how they want to go tell it? Like when somebody like rob a bank, they say a lot of times people get caught because they go tell a friend, or somebody do, you know, take somebody off this planet, take their soul off this planet. And eventually they go tell somebody because their conscience is eating up at them. You know why? Because it's something that they shouldn't be thinking. So you come out with, like I said, you come out with a book, and so yeah, you should have got expelled or suspended or terminated or whatever, or resigned, because you bringing something up, because that's how it starts. Remember what I said, how evil works? Evil don't just come flat out and do the evil deed. You know what I'm saying? It'll take time. It takes steps. So you got somebody who's saying, hey, this is just my thoughts. I didn't act on it. So what's wrong with that? Why everybody looking at me bad? Nobody knows how you think, and why they be looking at you bad? It's because you want to act on it. Because you plan on acting on it eventually. But right now you just want to get some sympathy. Say, oh, they're just thinking about it, ain't no problem. Then the next step would be like, oh, I did act on it, and I'm so sorry, but I tried to get help and nobody wanted to help me. I put a book out and try to cry out to people. Nobody want to help me. They just want to put me in prison. This is a mental illness that I have. I have no choice. I didn't choose to think like this. You know what I'm saying? I was born like this. This is not something I want to do. And I tried to get help. So now, I end up, I acted on this, and you know what? They want people to say, oh man, well, he didn't mean to do it. So it's just one time. So let's show him some sympathy. Let's bring him to the front of the class and cheer for him because he's coming to class and trying to change his ways. And then he becomes Then next thing you know, he's doing it 2 times, and then 3 times, and then somebody else come and they say the same thing. Oh, I only did it once. And I say, then another person comes and say, I did it once. Now you have, let's say you have in a community, and you have a few hundred people in a community doing something that they could not help. Now they feel there's power in numbers. And then that's how it grows into become something that has to be acceptable, because then you come to find out that these people that do this, then some of them gonna have money, gonna be in positions of power. Now you've heard stories about, like I just said about the Aries Spears and whatever her name is. I don't want to think about it right. About their situation. And they made this video with these kids. A lot of people wondering, did they make these videos for people in power, people with money? And they was forced to do it. If so, you see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this? Now you got people in power that once people start trying to accept this thought process, this way of thinking, the people in power gonna come out and say, well, hey, we've been thinking like this, we've been doing this for a long time. And now these politicians, running for these offices, y'all need these super PACs and y'all need money, so we're gonna finance your campaign, but gonna need something from you too. And that's where stuff like this comes into play. But anyway, hey, what do I know? Tell me what you think. That's all I'm gonna say about this story, man. I'm gonna leave a link in the description box, and y'all can look this up and do your own little research or whatever. Tell me what you think. Leave the comment below and then share it with the world. And with that being said, I'll leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.